Any dust, you're arrested. Grass dust, anything. Look it up. Giant fines. Don't have premises animal ID, they're coming after you. They catch your children carrying a bucket, it's over. Criminal charges. Not under law, under regulations. This is a total, what happened to Ukraine is happening to America, okay? They're going to do it. Like we're the kulaks or something. They mean business. They mean business. They're putting the internet kill switches in. They've got the talk radio kill switches in. They're now getting ready to test them with announcements by the dear leader. Will probably be Mitt Romney. Just don't think Obama's the dictator. His office is being turned into the dictatorship because it's Goldman Sachs run. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. Remember how U.S. troops and Mexican troops were in Canada for the Olympics? It was in the news. Quote, patrolling. Now we're going to have troops here patrolling. Russian airborne troops are set to train on how to target terrorists in America as part of a joint anti-terror drill with the United States, which will take part at Fort Carson, Colorado at the end of next month. Wish I could be there, because I'm going to be at Bilderberg in Virginia. Airborne troops from Russia and the United States would hold joint anti-terror drills in the U.S. state of Colorado, the real U.S. capital. That's Banker Capital. That's the underground base command center. The government admits it. May 24th, 31st, reports the Xinhua news agency, citing Russian Defense Ministry Colonel Alexander Kuchenko. The story was also reported on Russian news outlet RIA Novosti. The exercises will mark the first time the respective countries' two airborne forces have held the joint terror drills. Man, of course, we can't get on the base either to see. I guarantee you they're training for Americans. Let me just briefly explain to everybody exactly what's going to happen here, unless we get a hold of this. The globalists have created a high-tech control grid system that is phased in upgrades that everyone clamors for, and the whole thing is designed to disconnect humans from the land, from reality, where you can't work on your own car, where everything's got surveillance tech built into it, and finally, where everything is automated. And this process is not being done to empower you or because you're demanding it. It is being done so that when they release the controlled bioweapons, they can kill 80 to 90%, that's the public numbers, of the population in an orderly fashion. All the soft killing, the increased cancers, the diabetes, the neurological disorders, the toxins in our food and water, all by design. We even have the documents where they do it. The 10,000% increase in cancer in children and different pediatric cancers. All of that is just a background ambient warm-up. That's why I'm fearless, because there is no future if we don't stop these people. Now, I have seen foreign troops from all over the world. Latin America, Europe, Eastern Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Israel train to take on the American people. I have never seen Russians. And the Russians are very excited about this. And they are training to, quote, take on terrorists at a U.S. military base. Now, we've got the cooperative nugget footage from the early 90s where the general announces down in Louisiana, we are the forces of the New World Order. We've played those clips. It's in my police state films. And then it shows Eastern European former Soviet bloc troops training to take on Americans. And then I went to very drills like that. And people back in, 97, 98, 99, 2000, they thought it was fake. Oh, there's no way those are real Marines training and saying on tape they're training to take on American gun owners. There's no way I see them doing house-to-house gun confiscation drills in Oakland or Hebron, Maryland. Alex must have had a fake aircraft carrier, the Coronado, come up. Of course, it was in the newspapers they were doing the drills, and I showed the news articles too. Thousands of Marines, foreign troops. My director friend, Rick Linkletter, actually heard people saying that about it because it was such a shocking film, Police Day 2000, and he said, well, number one, he said, I was out in California when that was happening, Alex. And number two, that would cost 25, 30, 40, 50 million to do that. I mean, now it's all admitted, but people couldn't believe that it was happening. And I don't blame them in a way. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. It's being reported by the Russian state TV and print, and the Chinese are very excited about it. Of course, our government's giving them the Panama Canal. There are Mexican troops in Mexico. There are over 6,000 Chinese government front companies in the U.S. But none of that's a threat, though. It's the militia and returning veterans. The exercises, which will mark the first time the respective countries' two airborne forces have held joint drills on U.S. territory, will revolve around the reconnaissance of imaginary terrorists, camp and raid, and will also involve evacuations of the troops by helicopter. The Russian soldiers will also be given access to U.S. Special Services weapons at Fort Carson. However, the Russian troops won't just be confined to U.S. military base. On May 27th, they'll be out in the local community attending a baseball game in Colorado Springs, just like they have troops at the Kentucky Derby, the Super Bowl, and I told you that was acclamation. Now the Kentucky Derby, I was watching it last year at Waterloo Ice House, eating a chicken fried steak with my wife and children. And my wife goes, you know, the Kentucky Derby, look. And I turn, and it's the end, and people around the field, and they had troops with guns, Berettas, aiming them at people. Why couldn't you have state police when they run on the field do that? No, it had to be Army with guns. And so it's just part of the acclamation. And they admit it's part of the acclamation. They have high school events all over the country now, from New Mexico to Florida, from Texas to New Jersey, where little kids, you always see it on the news, are opening their Hello Kitty bag to be searched by the Army, and then they pat them down. Just all the Army's at the local football game, but the border's wide open. It's banker dawn. It's banker dawn. It's not red dawn. It's banker dawn. And again, our own criminal banker-run government tried to start a war in Georgia with the Russians in 4 years ago in 2008. So there's lots of backstabbing going on and stuff here as well. But the announcement comes at a time when the Russian actually has troops working in cooperation with China, points out Business Insider Eloise Lee, making reference to one of the largest ever Russian Sino naval drills currently underway in the Yellow Sea, openly for war with the U.S., the Chinese president said 2 months ago. Okay, there's more coming up, and then I'm going to give the number out and get into all the other news, but it's just all part of the twilight zoning of America. A global corporate takeover is happening. The bankers, through their fractional reserve banking, have unlimited fraudulent funding backed up by the nation's tax money. Every nation they control. They play countries off against each other to distract and divert and impoverish. This is all openly stated, and now they're openly announcing their world government, their new Agenda 21, covered by the environmental movement, to shut down industry and individual liberty, private property. It's all being announced. The Rural Council, Pentagon, Homeland Security, FEMA run, openly saying they're going to be on your property, in your face, bossing you around with firearms. When do they raid a organic place openly selling apples and cabbages? They draw their firearms. And it's part of showing the jury they have guns out and acting like you're bad and terrorizing you. It's all part of theater. I see articles constantly where innocent people are convicted of things that aren't even law. And they'll just misappropriate and charge them under something else. This is total lawless government. And I just keep repeating that this is a Mayday situation. And people have woken up under Obama. But when Mitt Romney gets in there, which could happen, you are going to see so many conservatives and libertarians just go to sleep, because Romney and the Democrats will have a fake fight with each other, and the discredited MSNBC will attack Romney. Well, if they're attacking Romney, then he must be good. And he will take on all of these tyrannical actions and expand them. He, again, has admitted that he wants to ban semi-autos. He supports carbon taxes. He supported government-run health care. Now he claims he doesn't support that. But mark my words. And people say, well, then what do we do? Keep Obama in there? Mark Moreno, who's advised Congress and worked with Senator Inhofe, he agrees. He says it would be better for this country if Obama stayed in, because he's hated. His approval rating plunges and plunges, and as he tries to grab dictatorial power, people are going to resist him. But in comes Romney. That's why he's getting more money now than Obama from the big banks. In comes Romney. He'll have a couple years of time to con people and to continue all the events. Now, I got to tell you, personally, I don't find Romney as nasty or wicked as Obama. But I assure you, I'll learn to loathe him as you will. And all the so-called left will suddenly get mad at torture and secret arrest and warrantless wiretapping if Romney gets in. They'll suddenly get real moral. But they're the ones cheerleading Obama and saying they don't care. I mean, it's such a game. Like, my guy's in there, so I support him. And it's going to be the same thing with Romney that we saw with Obama. And it's such a parlor trick. But it doesn't work now. People wake up in 6 months, not 2 or 3 years now. So time's running out for the globalists. That's why they're trying to just totally overwhelm us right now. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. And then we've got NLE-09. We've got this happening in the European countries. They've got foreign troops in Australia, New Zealand. I was reading, in fact, guys, I forgot to send this to you. I was reading it last night, and my IM crashed, so I didn't send it to you. It was in Sydney Morning Herald. Or no, I follow a link from there to The Age. I can't remember which newspaper I was on. Just type in Australia shutting up its own TSA. And it's modeled after it. It's exactly the same, naked body scanners. And it was how they were hiring and running ads. And it's global standardization. And it'll be the airports first. Everybody will get upset. It's designed to get you upset. Then it'll be the highways. Then it'll be the street corners. And then they're going to say, oh, we'll just face scan you now to prove you're good. And they're already announcing that. Oh, the answer is you'll be approved for travel through this traveler card. And people will be like, good, let me have the travel card. But wait, if you read what Homeland Security says, they're going to sell you on the travel card, but you still may be singled out. They're saying there'll be 3 avenues: total groping, strip searching, interrogation. Member of Congress from San Antonio was in mainstream news yesterday saying they know who he is. They single him out. They know he's criticized TSA. So they have the police there to threaten to arrest the congressman. This was in the news yesterday. If he doesn't stand there and let them squeeze and hurt him and well, you call it racking someone. In fact, guys, what congressman was that? His name does not, Canseco. Yeah. I mean, I want him on. I want him on. Ron Paul talked about it. Ventura's talked about it. I mean, they don't do it to everybody. It's like it's certain perverts, usually the supervisors. Look, they're just getting you ready to put their hands on you and disappear you. When Rob Dew got arrested at the G20 peacefully covering things on tape, they came and said, okay, you're with mainstream media, you're not, you're arrested. And they put him out in the rain all night at an army base with troops walking around with police in black uniforms. And they were driving in with a lot of people with bags over their heads. I mean, this is authoritarianism. I told you 15 years ago they wear black masks to intimidate you and to cover their identity. I mean, like executioners do, like the Foxes, the elite police in Mexico, have for 70 years. And now we've had police chiefs and manuals go public where they admit, you can just type in police chief admits they wear black masks to intimidate, and they say, yeah, we want to intimidate the public. That's the shift, is they want to intimidate the public. Now, you got more sophisticated people like Chief Art Aceveda in Austin who wants to go back to old-fashioned uniforms, nostalgia, old-fashioned police cars, but push a bunch of police state stuff. So real smiley, real slick, real friendly. Oh, we're here to help you. And maybe he drinks his own Kool-Aid, but he does a lot of unconstitutional stuff. We're the kulaks or something. They mean business. They mean business. They're putting the internet kill switches in. They've got the talk radio kill switches in. They're now getting ready to test them with announcements by the dear leader. Will probably be Mitt Romney. Just don't think Obama's the dictator. His office is being turned into the dictatorship because it's Goldman Sachs run. Russian troops to target terrorists in America as part of drill. Remember how U.S. troops and Mexican troops were in Canada for the Olympics? It was like terror drills. Man, of course, we can't get on the base either to see. I guarantee you they're training for Americans. Let me just briefly explain to everybody exactly what's going to happen here, unless we get a hold of this. The globalists have created a high-tech control grid system that is phased in upgrades that everyone clamors for. And the whole thing is designed to disconnect humans from the land. Any dust, you're arrested. Grass dust, anything. Look it up. Giant fines. Don't have premises animal ID, they're coming after you. They catch your children carrying a bucket, it's over. Criminal charges. Not under law, under regulations. This is a total, what happened to Ukraine is happening to America, okay? They're going to do it. Like in the news, quote, patrolling. Now we're going to have troops here patrolling. Russian airborne troops are set to train on how to target terrorists in America as part of a joint anti-terror drill with the United States, which will take part at Fort Carson, Colorado at the end of next month. Wish I could be there, because I'm going to be at Bilderberg in Virginia. Airborne troops from Russia and the United States would hold joint anti-terror drills in the U.S. state of Colorado, the real U.S. capital. That's Banker Capital. That's the underground base command center. The government admits it. May 24th, 31st, reports the Xinhua news agency, citing Russian Defense Ministry Colonel Alexander Kuchenko. The story was also reported on Russian news outlet RIA Novosti. The exercises will mark the first time the respective countries' two airborne forces have held the joint